Okay, so the first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to determine what do you want the top part of your mobile to look like. Okay, so you want to pick a stencil. So I have circles, I have ovals, I have squares, triangles, all kinds of shapes. Or you can make your own organic kind of shape. So you can see this is just scrap paper. It's been cut out before. And when I put a stencil on scrap paper, I do not put it in the middle because then it becomes hard to use the rest of it. I put it as close to the edge as possible. That way this is a nice big shape that I can maybe reuse later on in the assignment. So you want to trace your shape, and I kind of have a plan already in my brain of what I want. So I know I'm going to start with the circle, so I'll go ahead and cut that out. Okay, so here is my sketch that I've sketched out already. So this is my beginning circle, okay? So that's what this is going to be. Now I need to make a circle that is quite smaller, so I'm going to look in my scrap bin. And this one's smaller. I think I want it maybe even smaller than that, though. Something more like this, okay? And so now I just got to pick a new color and go from there. All of your scraps, because you never know if you're going to need them later on. Okay, so here is this. Okay, now I need 2 little triangles. So I think I'll just make those out of this pink paper. And you know what? I'm just going to fold this. I'm not going to even use a stencil for this. I'm just going to fold it. And I'm going to just cut a triangle out because I don't really think I need a stencil for this. But if you need a stencil, please use one. So now I have 2 of the same exact size triangle that will hang here from my circle. Okay? Alright, and I know I need a triangle for the bottom. Okay, so here are the basic shapes of my drawing. Now this part is something that I need to teach you if you want to do this part, because I think this is kind of cool. So we're going to save this part for last. So now from here though, you want to decorate these with shapes. So you want to think in the style of Matisse. So remember Matisse did a lot of organic shapes, things that kind of look like leaves or like coral from the ocean. So you want to get new colors and you want to start playing around with these kind of shapes, and you want to cut them out and glue them on. So for instance, I think I'll draw one of his kind of crazy shapes here, like that. And this is all just scrap paper. Okay, you just kind of want to figure out where things are going to go. I'm going to teach you how to cut a spiral, because these Matisse, you saw these a lot in his works. So to cut a spiral, if you want to, you can draw it. And cut on the line. And it does get a little tricky here as you get closer in, because everything's getting tinier. Okay, and I'm just going to kind of cut it off. So here's a spiral, but the thing is, if I'm going to glue this down, you can't really see much that it's a spiral, so you have to trim it. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to trim, and all I'm doing is following that same line that I drew, just cutting a little more outwards from it. Now I can see the space in between, so now it does look more like a spiral. So if I glue it down, it's going to look more spirally. and that's just by trimming. Okay, so you want to play with your shapes. Maybe you want the, you know, this thing down on another shape or what have you. You want to just kind of play with design. This is leftover from my spiral, which I think is kind of cool. I might use that. Maybe down here. I think that looks kind of neat. So yeah, so that's what we're going to do here. And then I shall show you that final bit if you want to do this thing, which ends up looking like this, which I think is pretty neato. It's just kind of tricky to do. Okay, so let me glue this stuff down, and then I will show you that next part. Okay, so to do this fun little shape, you are going to need a few strips of paper, and they all need to be different sizes. So you need one, and this is 6 inches, 2, 7 inches, 2 8 inches, and 2 9 inches. Okay, now you don't need to go all the way with all of these. You can just do maybe 1, 2, 3, or what have you, whatever you prefer. So you start with this guy, and this guy needs to kind of be going this way, okay? And then you will put on your 7-inch strips. So this is 6 inches, these are 7. So I'm going to just put some glue up here at the top, and I'm going to lay this 7-inch strip right up to it. So they're meeting right together, okay? Now this is tricky because the glue wants to make this slide everywhere. So you kind of have to just be patient and wait for this glue to dry. So to get it to poof out, you want to put glue on your 6-inch strip, so in this case mine is the yellow, on the bottom as well, and then you want to kind of lift up this strip, so in my case it's the green, and hold it down. Okay, so you can see it's kind of wanting to come apart on me a little bit. But you can see how it poofs out a little bit, and we just kind of keep doing that same process. Now, I do have some little clips if it's going to help you to clip it, and that way you can just work on one side at a time. Okay, so I'm just going to keep going on this side, and then I'll do the other side the exact same way. So I would put glue here and get my next strip. So in this case mine's the turquoise. Lay my turquoise on it. And you might have to bend it a little bit up here to kind of get it in the spot like that. See that little crease there? Okay, I'll take my clip off. I'll put some glue on the other side and do the same thing. You might have to bend it. And if I lift it up, there's my next layer. And I bet you can guess how we're going to do that final layer the exact same way. But this is my longest strip now. I'm going to kind of just pin it up there so I can work a little easier down here. Fold it a tad. And from here I'm just going to kind of hold it and let it become sturdy, and then I will go ahead and do my next side. Now this is kind of a cool shape in and of itself as well, so if you wanted to do this for your mobile, you can do that. These are fun things you figure out along the way when you make art. Okay, so now I'll just start on this side. So you might actually want to do this part before you glue on like all your shapes to here. So this can just sit to the side and dry, and then you can work on this, so that way you're not wasting time just waiting for this to dry and become sturdy. Okay, so these are how we're going to make all the components, and then from here we have to punch holes in everything and put yarn through it so it can hang. Okay, so I have everything now ready to go. The glue is dry. And I'm going to look at my little sketch, and I'm going to determine where I need to punch holes with my hole puncher to begin to attach these things together so we can hang them up. All right, so I know I'm going to need one at the top of my circle. That's the beginning. So this is a hole puncher. I know I'm going to need one at the top of this circle. So you just put it in like this. Go in a little ways and punch. You don't want to punch right on the edge because then the string will just slide right out. So you got to make sure you come in from the edge a little bit. Okay. And I know I need one on my triangles. And this one's going to be hard if you made one of these just because there's a lot of layers of paper here. So it might be a little difficult. Okay, so now everything has a hole punched out of it. And now I'm going to start threading everything through. I forgot. This one needs holes here. And then down here as well. Alright. So to thread it through, basically you're going to just have to know how to tie some knots. And you're going to have to determine how long everything's going to be. So I'm going to start with connecting this circle to this circle through this hole and this hole, okay? So I'm going to cut some thread, and please try not to be wasteful, so have it kind of planned out before you go. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the top hole, and then I'm going to go through this one. Okay, so I have two edges here, and this will be on the back. And to make the knot, I'm going to crisscross them, tuck one under, just like I'm starting to tie a shoe, crisscross again, loop one side through, pull tight, and that is a knot. Now, I don't like these kind of bunny ears hanging off, so I'm going to trim them shorter. And here you can see I've attached these two together just by doing that. So now what I need to do is I need to figure out where I want my two little triangles to hang. So do I want them short or do I want them longer? And that's going to matter because I need to know how long to cut my thread. Okay, so I do think I want them short. Now I want these the same length on either side. I want them symmetrical. So I'm going to have to cut the same length of thread. Okay, so I cut one piece. And then I lay it right next to it, cut another piece. That way they are the exact same. Okay, and then you're just going to do the same thing. You're going to go through. Okay, so now that I have everything attached, I should be able to lift it up and it should all hang. Okay, and this is a mobile and it will constantly be moving and changing. So the other thing that I would think about if I were to make this again is I would think about decorating the back as well, because since it is going to be twisting a lot depending on how much wind there is or movement near it, you will be able to see the back. So I would probably decorate the back if I were to do this again, so that way it could be pretty from every angle. Okay, but here it is all complete.